Hi folks, this is Chris Voss from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com, coming to you here with another blog post that I want to share with you. There's a cultural shift that you're seeing happening. An iPad, I kind of wondered if this is really going to take place with the iPad, because there's been a number of tablet projects that have tried to be launched, but it looks like iPad and Apple have really cornered the market on using the same principles of the iPhone applications to really target computing that's based on a tablet without having to have the heaviness of, complex operating systems, et cetera, at least for users to be able to experience. My family calls me for tech support, and sometimes it's really difficult because they can't even find the start page on the Windows thing, or the start button, I should say, on the Windows. If you can't get past the start button, it's really hard to get someone through tech support on Windows, especially over the phone. So one of the beauties of the iPad is its simplicity, and it's also in its finger-based touching and the ability to operate it with your fingers as opposed to trying to find a mouse and coordinate yourself. It's much easier for us as human beings to touch and to feel and understand things maybe a little bit more better in that kinetic sense. So if you go on YouTube, and I've posted several YouTube videos below, some were the first emerging YouTube videos. One is of, I believe, a 2-year-old mastering an iPad, and she actually works her iPad better than some of my friends who can't even operate their iPhones, which is kind of funny. And you can see that it's very, the simple nature of the Apple iPad is very easy format for her. She can use her fingers for everything. She has one button, joystick, if you will, or mouse, and the rest of it is using her fingers. The octogenarian story is really interesting. The 100-year-old woman who took and could see once again. With the second video is really interesting because it talks about how she had glaucoma and she couldn't read anymore, and because of the lighting of the iPad, she can now, of course, see the print much better, and probably with the font scaling and stuff like that. But as you watch these videos, what you're seeing is a cultural shift. I often joke about how when we were growing up, for fun, what we did as early teenagers, we threw dirt clods against the house. I'm not kidding, we really did. We rode our bikes and stuff like that. And when I see 2-year-old, 1-year-old children, there's actually some babies on there that are actually making music on the iPad. When I see that, I realize that this is a cultural shift of the future. Now, we all know that mobile is really coming out as the new advent of what's going on. Looks like you're going to see a dog tail in the background here. Hello, Shadow. So it's the real advent of what the future is going to be. Think about these kids and how they're going to be growing up and how they're going to be dealing with, this is the devices, this is the stuff they expect to deal with. We know that the future mobility is going to be more and more smarter mobile phones, more and more stuff that's going to be doing on. The desktop computer is largely dead. It may take 10 to 20 years to take and kill off, but it will also, you'll also have these tablets that are coming out. Laptops are changing dramatically. You'll probably have laptops that you can roll up and different things like that if you've seen some of the stuff that's gone on at the conventions. But more and more, it's going to become this interesting concept. Robert Scoble wrote a great blog about how maybe in the future, the iPad will be your movable monitor, and basically you'll take your monitor wherever you go, and you'll have a plug-in keyboard, Bluetooth for your monitor at work. Then you take your monitor, computer, iPad home. You have a plug-in there. You go to Starbucks, maybe there's a plug-in there. So we're finally reaching a point where, you can take a lot with you, and it's very simple, but it's also very simple in a format where people can understand it very quickly. I mean, if I could afford to get my family, everyone in my family, an iPad, I certainly would, because they would probably never call me for tech support again. They would be totally, okay, well, you push here, touch there, and it's very simple formatted, and it's something they can easily understand. So take a look at what's going on with the future. I really like to talk about the vision of the future, and this is really the vision of the future. What are these kids going to expect 10 to 20 years from now? How is it going to shape our society? What are the impacts that it's going to have, both good, positive, and negative? So these are things that we need to take a look at in what the future is holding, and we also need to embrace that. Now, I don't know if the iPad is the future. I'm not saying that because I know I'll get some comments about that. I don't know what the future is, but I think it's going to be something like the iPad. You're seeing now that the Google tablets, or that other tablet makers, since they can't get on the proprietary Apple product, what they're doing is they're using Android to put them onto similar tablets. So not only are you seeing the Google phone fight with Apple and iPhone, you're now going to be seeing the tablet fight with Google, with the Google system there, and the Apple iPad. And you're also going to be seeing in the future coming out here the Google operating system, which is going to technically compete with Windows. So it's interesting what's happening, but take a look at what this cultural shift is. If you're an entrepreneur, you may want to ask yourself where that's going and how you can capture that. If you're a person, you might want to ask yourself, how do you raise your kids better using this technology? Are they going to be behind if you don't get them an iPad till they're 4 or 5 years old? I called up my friend who has 2 small children, and I said, dude, you got to get your kids an iPad, otherwise they're going to be at the back of the class. They're going to be the stinky ones in the corner. No, I'm just kidding. But that's the sort of thing that we need to take a look at the future with these tablets. So take a look at the videos, and you can see the web is filled with them now. These little small children that are mastering computers probably better than some of the people that are listening to this video right now. I'm just teasing. You guys are wonderful people. Be sure to come back daily to the ChrisVossShow.com. Read it every morning. It should be your newspaper. Thank you. Bye-bye.